Using data to drive product insights can be super powerful, but it's also much trickier to utilize. Have you heard the saying, garbage in, garbage out before? Well, when it comes to the world of data insights, this is really the case. Having data isn't enough. You really need to have a strategy and a plan for how you'll use it. And of course, privacy and data protection is a big concern for that plan too. But that's beyond the scope of this module. Let's use a hypothetical example from Slack. One of the Slack features is that you can react to messages. As a PM, you would probably want to track the frequency that people use reactions to know if they're worth having in the product. But does just having that data really tell you anything? Sure, it tells you if people are or aren't using it, but that's pretty surface level. Does it tell you about what they're trying to do when they use the feature? For example, for years, Slack didn't have a polling feature, basically a short-form multiple-choice question ability. From my own use before this feature existed, we used to ask a question message to create our polls, and people would vote using reactions. So as you can see, just having the reactions data wouldn't have given you this insight. Instead, you'd have to analyze how the data is truly being used to understand this. And maybe you'd even need to receive a hint from a customer that this scenario even existed. Using data is also trickier because it has to be built into the product at very specific places. For instance, if you want to track the number of customers that click a certain button, the development team has to program that capability into the product, and then it has to be released to the customers. This means that data gathering can have a days or weeks-long lead time, which reiterates the need for having a strategy and a plan on what to measure and how to use it. Finally, another tool I like for specific applications of gathering customer insights is using feedback forms. Forms are great for large-scale, structured feedback. If you need to collect feedback from a large percentage of your customers, a form is a great tool for this. Forms must be structured, however, which means you need to know in advance specifically what you're looking for, and that can be a challenge. Of course, you can have open-ended questions in the form, as we discussed earlier, but the customer must then feel quite motivated about a specific topic to enter it in that way. One of the superpowers of forms is the ability to perform analysis on the structured large volume of data. For example, if you're looking to understand the level of customer satisfaction, you might run a sentiment analysis on specific questions to understand if the customers are talking positively or negatively about that topic. Or you might categorize responses based on keyword mentions, looking for patterns of what customers care the most about. The ability to analyze this data at scale is really great, but it also requires advanced planning so you ensure customers provide the raw data you're looking for. One downside of feedback forms is known as survey fatigue. Customers are always being asked to provide their feedback, and there's a real time and effort cost to customers to fill out a survey. I mean, just look at your own life experience. How many emails in your inbox have some sort of survey component? It's a lot. So be mindful of how you're engaging customers with surveys. Don't over-rely on them, and if possible, consider incentivizing the customer to complete them. Overall, forms are best for large-scale, generic insight collection, and occasionally you'll get a hidden gem response that's really great. They certainly have a place in product development, but probably shouldn't be your primary insights gathering tactic.